We welcome now John Pope, the Collins Fire Chief and President of the Mississippi Firefighters Association. Chief Pope, good to see you, sir.
Thanks, Gerard. Great to be here.
All right, so give us an update on the House Bill 521. You and I spoke about that, I believe, the day it made it out of committee.
That's right.
I ran into you at the Capitol, and we were discussing the merits of the bill, and we were hoping that it would get out and get to the floor, and sure enough, it did that day when I ran into you. So explain what the bill does for firefighters.
Okay, well, as you said, we ran into one another that day at the Capitol after we had got it out. Kind of had to do a little life support on it. Had a little hiccup along the way, but we got it out of the House and got it passed over to the Senate. So 521 is a length of service award program. What this would do is would provide a financial contribution into a somewhat of a defined benefit contribution program for active volunteer firefighters. And at the end of a term of service, they would be able to receive a lump sum financial payment to them in award for their services rendered as a firefighter, volunteer firefighter in the state of Mississippi.
And so what's the status of the bill right now, John?
Okay. So as we said, the bill came over to the Senate.
Yep.
It was double referred to insurance and to appropriations. It passed out of insurance from Senator Michelle's committee, and it is now transferred to appropriations. Appropriations is scheduled to take the bill up this afternoon at 1:30 in the Appropriations Committee, so we'll be there to support that. There's been some discussion on the bill, some changes that have been basically looked at from the Lieutenant Governor had some recommendations for some possible changes to the bill as it was. It was changes that did not change the overall bill. It was just how the bill, the funding mechanism, and how we ensure the longevity of the bill, because this is recurring. This isn't just 1 year and then it's done. This is something that's got to be continual, because we're talking about rewarding these volunteer firefighters for their continued service. It's recruitment and retention. So there's some changes about where it was. The original bill called for, right now, the fire service was getting 1/2 of 10% of the gross since 1990 on the fire insurance premium tax. We had, the recommendation was it would be 1/2 of 20%. Well, now the proposal is that there would be base dollars that would come from the state that would have a base, and then the other would be funded through what is basically a special fire fund that comes from some of those other fire tax dollars and other non-admitted fees. So that was the proposal that came up. A few changes to maybe the makeup of the Board of Trustees, but still the bill itself, the meat and potatoes is still the same. It still accomplishes the same things. It's going to help us to recruit and retain firefighters. It's got good support. Came out of insurance, like we say, as it was. These changes, of course, come out of appropriations. If it passes out today, to go back to insurance committee and then be voted and then be sent over to the House. But we feel good about it.
What about the governor? Has he indicated he's on board?
We've been working through these sides right now and haven't been able to have a one-on-one conversation with him yet. But we feel like his support of first responders and support of the fire service in the past, that we'll have good support. What we want to try to do is kind of work through this side and then, not get the cart ahead of the horse, so to speak, and stuff. But I feel good about it. Okay.
What sort of feedback have you received, John, from your members?
Our membership is in full support. We had a Zoom meeting that we set up at the State Fire Academy and reached out to the entire fire service of the state and invited everyone to be able to join in. We had great participation in that. We had a lot of good question and answer term with that. Everybody understands and sees that there is a decrease. As we talked in our prior conversation, we've seen about a 30% decrease in volunteer firefighters in the state of Mississippi. We've got about 9,000 men and women now that serve in the volunteer fire service. The volunteer fire service touches almost every community in our state. We're a very rural state, and then even in our smaller municipalities, many of them rely on volunteer fire departments. As we talked about, you're more apt, if you have an emergency, that you may receive services from a volunteer firefighter during your lifetime than maybe otherwise. But the membership is very positive on this. They have reached out to their legislators showing support. And the legislators have told us, we've heard from your membership. We've heard from your members. We appreciate that. And, we've been able to provide good talking points, and they've conveyed those. So we feel good with it, and I think it'll really make a positive difference. But number one, it's about safety. This is about going to allow the fire service to continue to provide services that are needed, but it's about safety and saving lives.
Gotcha. John, update us on the tragic fire in Brookhaven over the weekend.
Okay, know a little bit about it just in some contacts that I've had. Of course, a very tragic incident, loss of 2 lives in that fire, had some other injuries, and I think it was 26 or 28 other individuals displaced. Very large fire. Number one, the fire department in Brookhaven and in Lincoln County, they all came together to work that fire. I think they were on scene for over 9 hours working the fire. But don't have any other information. I think they were trying to determine the cause of it, but just that shows the daunting task that our firefighters have each and every day. Very large fire, took a large number of personnel to respond to it, and just for them in managing that incident and stuff, they've got a very strong fire service there in Brookhaven and in Lincoln County, and they work well together. But just a sad situation with that loss of life. But that there, at least there wasn't a larger loss of life. It's very sad and tragic to lose any lives.
Sure.
But could have been a lot larger loss of life.
Have we identified the root cause yet?
I don't believe they have. I know that they had investigators with the fire marshal's office that were looking at it and stuff, but I've not heard that they've released any information on a cause or anything.
What about the Fire Academy? Did we just graduate a class, I believe, right?
Yes, graduated class last week. Actually, Director Wages and I were over at the Capitol at the time that graduation was taking place because we had a committee meeting. We were trying to work through 521, but had a large class graduate. Our academy does a great job of training firefighters in our state. We have a lot of great programs, and it's truly one of the top fire training agencies in the nation. And it's definitely a gem for the state of Mississippi. It truly, when you come out of the academy, it says, "If I made a difference today," and our state fire academy makes a difference each and every day.
Part of the Department of Insurance, right?
That's correct. It's part of the Department of Insurance under Commissioner Cheney, and he does a great job supporting the fire service of the state, supporting the academy, the fire marshal's office, and fire prevention efforts through the state as well. But just the academy is a great organization, and we appreciate all that it does and all the support that the commissioner provides for us.
I know that in talking to the commissioner, it's something he takes great pride in for sure, and he should.
Exactly. I mean, we teach and train a huge number of firefighters. Myself, prior to taking Fire Chief in Collins, I was a staff instructor at the Fire Academy for a good while, and definitely a highlight of my career.
Yeah.
Being able to be there where so many firefighters get their beginning, get their start.
Right.
And tomorrow we have a entry PT test for firefighters that'll be getting ready to go to the Fire Academy. They'll be there tomorrow morning bright and early to perform that PT test to be able to get acceptance and entrance into the basic firefighter training program. But the Academy provides so much training, not just that provides training for the volunteers, career, provides EMS training, rescue training, hazmat training. The fire service is truly an all-hazards response agency. You have to be prepared for everything because when the tones go off, you don't know what you're responding to until the dispatch gives it to you. And it could be one of a million things we respond to. And people used to say, if you don't know who to call the fire department, and they'll figure it out and take care of it. And that's truly how it is a lot of times.
Something that opened my eyes, John, about 3 years ago, I serve on the board of the Southwest chapter of the Red Cross. Mm-hmm. And I was shocked to learn that the number one catastrophe the Red Cross responds to is house fires.
That's correct.
And in the state of Mississippi, it's like one a week or something.
It is. It's a large number. And the Red Cross does a great job in supporting. We can make phone calls to be able to get disaster support assistance for them, whether it's small incidental needs or whether it's housing for a certain period of time, hotel and such. So the Red Cross does a lot, and we do suffer a lot of home fires in the state of Mississippi, but a lot of work is being done to push more prevention information out and such as well.
Because so many are preventable is what we've learned through
That's
that.
correct.
Just having basic smoke alarms.
That's right. Having operable smoke alarms at home, knowing a good exit drill in the home, and just taking those prevention efforts makes a huge difference.
John, we'll be keeping our eyes on this legislation. I think it's a good deal for the firefighters in the state, and we need them. Like you said, we need these volunteer firefighters.
We do indeed. Thank you for your support.
Appreciate you coming on, John. John Pope, Collins Fire Chief and President of the Mississippi Firefighter Association. We're coming right back with more in the Element Wealth Studios. Stay with us.